I really want to talk about this animation. It's beautiful. The lore is interesting, and there are some other implications involving the lore and Genshin in the current story. I will note this is my second time actually recording this, and there was some problems with the screen capture flickering. Oh boy, won't go into that. At the end of the video, I'll go into why I made this video, and let's get into this.
You'll do great, even 2 against 1.
You bet. Or even 3 against 1.
Okay, these are
I
the original
propose a
heroes.
toast to the 2 who are no longer with us.
Before we get into that, the shadows and the background has some depth of field to it. Noise, which is common in anime to have noise in the back, adds a layer of stylized detail without actually adding detail. It also, sometimes in anime, what they do is the shadows will sort of be a darker highlight, whether it's of a character or it's of the lighting. In this case, it's of the lighting. So you kind of see kind of like some oranges and reds in the shadows of on the characters, because you wouldn't want many shades of shadows when you're doing such a style. In anime, having many shadows of different colors is never a good idea. It just doesn't look good. This is really beautiful. I mean, this looks so well hand drawn. Whether it is hand drawn or not, I don't know. But it looks like most of this animation were mostly hand drawn.
Sanhaj and Burkina.
Sanhaj and Burkina. Well, these are the original heroes that Mavika mentions in Natlan's storyline. And Burkina is of the Scions of the Canopy, and Sanhaj is of the Night Wind. These other four, so the larger one with the blue color scheme, that's Tupac of the People of the Spring. Lanjiro is the one with the white hair, and that kind of the muscle. She's from the Collective Plenty, and they're like bodybuilders. Tupac's really fundamental in these original heroes. We'll see that in this animation. He is brought up in I think what act 4 quite a bit amongst the other original heroes. Menelik is the one with the red. I'm kind of blurring him a little bit. He's from the Flower Feather clan, and then Sanjata is the Children of the Echo. He's the one with the yellow color scheme and the pauldron, the one that. And the scene is, it's a toast to their fallen comrade, the fight against the abyss. Let's watch a little bit more of it, and I'll talk about something that's really, and we'll see this theme show up more and more in Sunset.
It's not the same without them here. They'll both be missed. Even though Sanhaj wasn't that much of a talker.
And yet the news of his death rings loud and clear, a rallying cry in our hearts.
I do like her voice.
He died a hero! Him and Burkina both! Now a second
Very
toast
drunk.
to the Pyro Archon, in whom we place all of our trust.
All the detail in the
Here's to
hands.
their courage, indomitable will, and magnificent plan!
I just wish she would have joined us for tonight. She
A
should
little
be
shaking,
here,
show that they're
sharing
drinking.
a drink with us.
She's making a 500-year trip alone. If it were me, my emotions would be all over the place.
This is really nice, reflection.
Give her some time.
This final toast is to us. And to our impending death, both grim and glorious.
Nice shot. So another thing about this scene is the name of the song that's playing. So most Hoyoverse's songs, and I'll talk about this more and more in Sunset, is the songs that they use are actually from soundtracks across Natlan. So this song they're playing right now is called Undanced Dance. So just listen to this, right? So that's the song that's playing. And most of the time, so like Embers of Glamoth or A Flash, I know those are Star Rail animations, well, even Ember Fire, which is a Genshin one, they have their own soundtrack. But in this, they're using songs throughout Natlan. You can find these on Hoyomix, actually from the first playlist they released related to Natlan. And it's interesting, an undanced dance. Now, it could be ironic that the name of the song is Undanced Dance, or maybe it's intentional, an undanced dance. What does that mean, right? In the case of the nation of war, right, a dance is their final battle. whether they are revived or not. They fight for glory, they fight to protect Natlan, they fight the abyss. An undanced dance. The dance that hasn't happened yet. It's the calm or the storm. You know, it's ironic that the name of the song is that, but we'll see that there are other songs in Sunset that actually their names correlate to sort of what's going on. And maybe this is just a theme with Natlan's music. That probably is the case, given it is the nation of war. The music is very thematic, especially by tribe and by what's happening.
Certain defeat tomorrow. We'll march to our deaths, eh?
Oh, see, they already have
So,
accepted the
you
fact
ready
they'll
to face
die
it,
or
Tupac?
may die.
Defeat? Says who? Our sacrifice will feed the sacred flame, paving the way for true victory in 500 years. I am ready. Natlanese warriors don't fear death. Am I right, Menelek? Menelek?
Can't blame them.
Let him sleep.
This is really nice. Very well painted. Not just the railing. Look how different the stadium looks 500 years ago, but also how it, like in front of the background. Just a nice detail on how it like scrolls. It's really nice. It creates the sense of depth.
Fearlessness is one thing, but to nap in the face of death? You don't see that every day.
So beautiful. This part now with Mavica. Look how that camera
Sunset.
moves.
The sky burns bright tonight.
There's the name Sunset mentioned. I actually like her outfit
Just
here.
like the day I took office. Hine.
We'll actually talk about Hine later on. Also, the scene's really beautiful. And look how the lighting is, saturation. It looks so, the background looks so well, like it's so well painted. Water
What are you doing?
moving.
Mom said you shouldn't stare at bright.
The layer of depth. Trees are a different layer than the background. Obviously, Hine is a different layer. And then that rock in the background's a different layer. And then the very background.
Flames,
Really
or
well
you'll
done.
hurt your eyes. And I heard that you're the brightest flame of all now. So, I'm covering my eyes.
Hine, take your arm away. Huh?
Oh, wow! Your flames aren't blinding at all. They're so warm, like the setting sun.
The translucency of her hair here. Even with the hands. I mean, look at the hand, too. It's really nice. It's so beautiful. Also, animation's named Suns. What is that? The music that's actually playing right here, again, it could be ironic or it's intentional. But the song is called Shedding Twilight. And, well, you know, what is twilight, right? When the sun is below the horizon, it's sunset. It is quite literally the light from the sun before the nighttime, right? This theme in Natlan is day and night. The night is the abyss. The day is Natlan has been fighting the abyss for thousands of years, potentially. This is just a 500-year period that Mavica lives. If you do Act 4, this is a major spoiler, but you know, when the original heroes show up, Mavica can, or the ancient names of the original heroes, Mavica can invoke temporarily their power to protect Natlan. And then this is an Act 5 spoiler. It comes at a price. There's a debt that has to be paid. The rules of life and death have been broken in Natlan, and that is because of one of the shade. Here's the song. It's called Shedding Twilight. Let's just listen to it. A long, drawn-out note, kind of calming. Let's see what happens.
Everyone looks at it, but no one gets hurt. Huh? Mawika?
Hine. Do you think there'll be sunsets like this in the far future too?
What's actually really interesting, the way this transitions, right?
Hine,
Look at how it transitioned. I know it's their hair changing and it's not glowing anymore. Wearing that signature red and orange.
Do you think?
It's interesting because it could just be how they're doing the shot, or maybe this isn't in the future now. Maybe this is actually a memory of Hine, her final memory. We'll talk about this more. There's more to Sunset than just here's Mavika, here's her struggle of 500 years, here's what happened to the original heroes. Element of Hine is so fundamental to Mavika's character. When they're talking about Sunset, there's more to it. Here's the fight scene.
So
Notice how the lighting's different. It's darker. There's blues and purples. It's mostly blues. Even the shadows are more blue now. A tint of blue in the shadow. And the sky's like cloudy and
my end. It's sobering.
I don't know what the song that is playing here. I couldn't find this song in this scene and the scene following this. I don't know. I don't know the songs for these. I know the songs for the rest of the animation, but I don't know for these two. So I couldn't figure that out. I looked literally through every song for both of the Natlan playlists that are on Hoyo Mix right now as of recording this. So I don't know what these songs are. They might be actually specific to the animation, which is probably the case.
When Tanoch summoned us, you should have seen this day coming. Hey, you recovered yet,
How he
Menelek?
carried Menelik.
With a fierce battle to sober me up, I will be soon enough!
Let's
Love
show
this.
the Abyss
Them getting
that
ready,
if they want to take our lives,
not
it's
fearing
gonna
death.
cost them dearly.
But then look at how Mavika,
Friend.
the shadows on her eyes, not showing the eyes. It's common in anime, whether fear or dread or even anger sometimes. In this case, maybe it's a combination of all of the above.
In this final battle, may you burn bright until the end.
Another thing about this I've noticed, and maybe I'll show this in post edit, but or maybe not, I don't know. Might be hard to show this. If you actually look at the animation, it's 25 frames per second. The character's movements are about every 3 to 4 frames. This is common in anime. When people are talking about by 2s, 3s, and 4s, they're talking about the amount of frames before something actually moves. And in anime, it doesn't tend to be like everything moves at the same frame rate. There's actually quite a bit of variability. Like here in case the Zoltrak scene, the physics on the character, like the wind, is like 2s and 3s. Sometimes the character's movements are 3s and 4s. It sort of depends. Background stuff tends to be about 4s. It's kind of based off the speed of something to some degree, how they want to demonstrate speed. Because the more frames, right, the smoother it is, or the faster it looks. Because a lot of this is drawn, or there's mostly drawn. You don't want to draw every frame in 25 frames per second. Be really careful with that. Special effects in the background, the purple effect is actually every frame. These like noise effect, this is a common theme in the stylistic choice that moves every frame. So you'll actually notice it looks a bit off, but take Furin, for example, with the Zoltrak, it's a very noisy special effect. Large like wisps of the effect aren't every frame. The noise in it, the texture is every frame. It's weird. I don't know why anime does this, but it looks good. That's why I guess they do it. It's stylistic choice.
Natlan will remember this day.
Oh, the music. How it builds up. I don't know about these special effects. These look like they're like hand drawn completely. They're probably three. This is so awesome. And the freeze frame, the abyss. This is a cool scene.
Menelek's headlock was so strong it outlived him. That giant beast suffocated to death because it couldn't break free from a dead man's grip.
I didn't even register the first time I heard that. I didn't register till the third time I watched this. That Menelek, after he died, his body killed the monster. This scene is so powerful. Tupac is really something. The way the camera pans to, and the way it will move up the stairs. You'll see the background scroll. It's really cool.
And Sunjata fell too soon.
These ankles.
If he hadn't taken that hit to save Wanjiru, he'd have lasted a lot longer. A senseless sacrifice. Considering we were all gonna die anyway.
Tupac.
You're awake.
The music,
I knew you'd pull through.
the way
To
it
keep the
builds.
plan on track.
It's this kind of somber theme, almost mysterious though too. The notes that are playing are kind of just these higher pitch. They're a little soft. I'm not a musician, so I don't know the notes exactly, but it's really it starts to build as Tupac carries her up the stairs.
I thought I'd give you a lift here.
You're...
Piano playing.
Look, we're almost there.
That theme that just played is like the signature Natlan theme. It's really fascinating. You'll hear that set of notes frequently in a lot of Natlan's music. Very thematic, carrying the Pyro Archon to her throne to revive her, rejuvenate her from the eternal flame.
You are our flame. You have to burn on. And never go out.
Such is beautiful. Man. He's dead.
Tupac.
He died standing. He died carrying her. He died standing up. He's dead. That detail is so nice. It's gruesome, but Natlan is gruesome. Notice how it goes from dark to light. There's sunset. Still hasn't set. This scene. This entire scene until the very end, right? The very end where they're in the present. This whole sequence right here. Yes, the last one was sad. The fight scene was cool. Mavika talking to Hine was heartwarming. The undanced dance, calm before the storm, is also heartwarming and somber at the same time. This scene is what makes this animation amazing. Whole sequence, the music, Mavika just driving into the distance. And then there's one thing about all the writing in this has been so deliberate. The music choice, the dialogue, how they're portraying things. It's all deliberate. It's telling a story specifically about Mavika's struggle, but there's another component to this. Let's just watch. Those lines indicate like speed. It's pretty common in anime. Show motion. Interesting they're doing that here. Makes sense. She's riding a motorcycle. But the song that's actually playing right now is it's called Hoary Hibernation. Hoary means gray. It could also mean old. Make do how you want to. Grim way of saying hibernation. Old hibernation. Gray hibernation. Either way you look at it, that's not a good, it's interesting. Such a nice song for what is happening in this scene. Hair moving, that's nice too. The physics on that. It's the same like couple repeating frames, but it's done really stylistically well.
That sunset is the only thing in sight. I don't know how far I've come.
Pay attention to this out. It's so important. The
I don't
background.
even know where this road leads.
There's Hine, but that's not the Hine we know. Okay, 231. Theory is this indicates the number of years that have passed. 231. You'll see that number change. Pay attention to the corners. I might be covering it. I apologize if I am, but
I don't even know where this road leads.
I'll list the numbers every time they show up in the left corner of the screen, the bottom left.
Where Where am I
231,
heading?
277,
Can't
301,
remember.
341. The key thing she says, I can't remember.
I feel
She's been on
lost,
this journey
but
for hundreds of years.
this is the only road there is. I guess maybe I'll take a break.
But remember, lighting here. So yellow, orange, and inch of green. But then there's sunset. And there's Hine. The shadow of Hine is sort of dark. These are the colors of Twilight. But it's been hundreds of years. Hine isn't alive. What is happening?
Who
Oh,
are you?
she even asked, who are you? Look how like broken this character is. Hundreds of years waiting for one moment.
Why are you here?
I'm waiting for sunset.
Oh, she said it. No eyes. Shadows on the face. Anger. Interesting. The sigh. Such a powerful scene, especially with that song, Hoary, Hibernation. Now, she says, who are you? She doesn't initially recognize her, or she knows this isn't really Hine. But why Hine? Let's just keep watching.
But it never sets here.
The way the audio pans right now.
It will. When the time comes.
Oh, when the time comes. Hine standing behind her, exactly behind her, looking into the distance. There's Mavika, staring at the ground, broken, exhausted. But what's really interesting is, what is this a hallucination? Because Mavika's just been going for all these years, waiting for one moment for sunset, right? What is happening here? Like, this isn't Hine. Is this the spirit of Hine? Is it because the Night Kingdom, the spirit of Hine is here? Or maybe is this a moment in time? The original heroes, when they show up in Act 4 at the end, together, when the Night Wars start to fight off the Abyss tumors and temporarily, Mavika says they are not the souls of the original heroes, but a snapshot, a moment in time. Is that what's happening here? Is this parallel to something? Conversation between Mavika and Hine. But what makes this even more confusing is in Act 2, Chapter 5, Act 2, when in the room there's all these memoria, eventually Mavika uses it to burn it to keep the flame going. The traveler talks to Mavika briefly about Hine, because there's a picture of Hine. Well, what happened after that? This portrait looks pretty old. Your sister must be all grown up by now, right? That's Paimon saying that. And then Mavika says, I believe she ended up working as an architect and an artist. She built many houses and crafted many beautiful art. It almost implies that when Mavika became an Archon, she didn't see Hine again. She didn't go back. Maybe because she knew she would live 500 plus years. She didn't want to see Hine age. Why this child version of Hine? This, maybe I'm wrong. I haven't done her Mavika's character class. I haven't done Act 5 yet, although I know the important elements of Act 5. I don't know. Why is it the child version of Hine that Mavika sees? Whether this is a hallucination or a shade playing tricks on Mavika, intervening, a snapshot of Hine. Why the character teaser from Mavika, we also see the child version of Hine and the potentially an ancestor of Hine. So Hine probably didn't die, especially until like old age, but it's fascinating. And also keep in mind, Mavika's from the Scions of the Canopy, but because Mavika is an Archon, she inherits a different ancient name, the one from the first Pyro Archon, which is like Ognston. It's so interesting. So obviously Hine was fundamental to Mavika surviving these 500 years, suffering, waiting for this moment, but why the child version? It's very deliberate, and maybe it's because we would recognize that as an audience that that's Hine, but also it paints other pictures, especially in this moment, waiting for sunset. It's powerful. It was $4.99, by the way, 499 years. Now they're sitting together.
you heard the saying? After the evening flame burns away all evil, the peaceful night will finally arrive.
The evening flame.
Hey sis, you have a mission to do. Remember?
The way she stands up, pose, the way the scroll,
I
sense
do.
of depth to it.
There's people watching this sky. I can't keep them waiting. Hine,
There's no Hine.
that's right.
Obviously, a little fan service
I
here.
never lost my way. I'm still on track.
Motorcycle might actually be 3D, like the way the camera moves. But then here it doesn't look 3D, so I don't know. Obviously, the fires.
My destination has been right there all along.
Oh, this is so nice. How she fades into sunset. That transition too. Perfect. The song that's playing here, another ironic moment, is called Inheritance of an Ancient Name. Let's listen to it. This starts to build upon a theme, but also the name, Inheritance of an Ancient Name. Like, as I mentioned earlier in Natlan, Mavica holds an ancient name from the original Pyro Archon, the first Pyro Archon. So this moment where Hine is, well, the time will come, right? You remember the saying, all this, the moment that he goes, oh, time. But there's also another component to this. Now, this isn't the same song, but another big theme in Natlan is this song, To the End of All Wars. And this is very similar to the Inheritance of an Ancient Name. There's that common Natlan theme that we also hear in Inheritance of an Ancient Name. Transitions, right? Right here. So it's interesting the choice of songs I chose here. Obviously, in the moment before war, with the new heroes, right? The song plays. It's just a way of emphasizing that. But it is a very interesting detail. Also, something that Hoyoverse does with their animations I actually really like is the strands of hair, the little white strands. The hair is not like completely perfect. It's a nice detail. You especially notice this in this scene, but you see this in other animations they do too. Very notable.
We all have made many sacrifices and
Those are the
faced our
original
inner
heroes.
demons. But
And
finally,
now the present
we
in
are here.
the game.
Natlan has suffered long enough. By nightfall, this war will be over!
Yes. If you notice,
For
there's
Natlan!
water moving. Despite that being a zoom out, that animation is so beautiful. It really shows the 500 years of struggle for Mavica. Now, why 500 years, I don't know. I've gone up Act 4 as of recording this video and the interlude. But I guess maybe it's based off of when ancient names are called upon every 500 years, which usually involves the sacrifice of the Pyro Archon due to the debt that they have to pay. So it shows the original heroes and their undanced dance, their calm before the storm, the preparation as their two fallen comrades had already died. And then it shows Tupac carrying Mavica back to her throne to revive her. And then there's the element of Hine. We know why Hine's in this animation. Hine was fundamental to Mavika as a character, and it's strange. We see this moment where they're talking about sunset. It's the moment where Mavika became a Pyro Archon. We don't know if this is the last time Mavika saw Hine for whatever reason that could be. But then when we see Hine again at the outpost, it's almost a memory or a hallucination, a combination of both, or there's more to it. And not only does it paint the struggle of Mavika, but Hine, it shows how important Hine is to Mavika. And that's the beauty of this animation. Not only is every shot a piece of artwork that is just spectacular and animated so well, it is very much an anime style animation. And so, mouth movements aren't going to be speaking every word exactly. In fact, there are a few shots where the mouth wasn't even moving on Mavika. I don't know if that was because of translation reasons, but Hoyoverse can get away with showing a lot of their stuff's done in Chinese before it gets translated into English and Japanese and other languages. So I don't know if that's the case with the animations, but I'm sure they just do general like mouth movements and they can get away with using the same animation but having it be in different languages. We also have to talk about the voice acting. Obviously, in English, we're watching in English. There's so much emotion. The beginning with Tupac, despite talking about a fallen comrade, you could tell in their voice they're prepared. They're not sad. They're prepared for what will happen. And Hine's excitement, and Mavika, there's this calmness in that first scene with Hine. On the last scene before the final scene, so sunset, showing sunset, right? You could tell how broken Mavika is just by the voice acting. She's so broken. She's so defeated. We see this theme with Farina. We realize the whole situation with the Focalor and Farina in Archon storyline. It's just fascinating to see all of this. They've done such a great job. Whatever version of Hine this is talking to Mavika at this output on this bench in the middle of nowhere, right? It's the way she's speaking. It's different. There's a determination in her voice, and the VAs they pulled this off really well. There's this determination in her voice, this almost knowledgeable. It's not the excitement that you hear in the first scene with Hine. We hear this at this outpost, right? Or hibernation playing in the background. When the time will come, right? Hey sis. There's almost like a somber aspect to how she's speaking, and it's almost eerie and creepy, but at the same time, it is motivating, and it's fascinating how they portrayed this. And at the end, when Mavika is speaking to the new heroes, right, of Natlan, final hoorah moment, like, we will fight the abyss. This will be the end of all wars. Hence the theme that's playing, right? Even though it's called Inheritance of an Ancient Name, the theme is still reminiscent of that song to end all wars. This is just such a beautiful animation, and I love it. I love every bit of it. Every scene is so well done. And the fact that it's a 10-minute animation, I mean, even for Hoyoverse, a 10-minute animated short, that is something. That's half of an anime episode right there. And this is just for a game. It's really incredible. In terms of music, Undanced Dance was very fitting. This kind of does build up to the song, has some of the flutes playing. I think Shedding Twilight was very fitting too. It's this calm moment before the storm. And I don't know the names of the songs for the fight scene or Tupac carrying Mavika, but those might be specific to the animation, like the other songs that were taken the Natlan soundtrack with incredibly ironic names. What I really love are the last two songs. Hoary Twilight is so cold and it almost reminds me of an Interstellar song. There's just build up to it, but it was so fitting. And actually, there's some sound effects in the song that actually the motorcycle. So I don't know, maybe they actually made that song specifically for the animation too, but it is in Hoyo mix right now. Then there's an Inheritance of an Ancient Name, which brings upon that build up using a version of the Natlan set of notes and setting the music aside. The music was very fitting and awesome. What does sunset mean, right? Sunset is when they're talking about when will sunset come, is Mavika's journey to end the cycle, end the bargaining with the ruler of death, and to end the fight against the abyss. Although the abyss will always be fighting, but thinking to the lore, right? The seven sovereign dragons before the Archons failed to completely fight off the abyss. Natlan had a region that fell into the abyss. Think about that compared to the other nations. We don't know the status of Snetsdea and how they've dealt with the abyss, but Natlan has had the brunt of the impact. So Mavika's ultimate goal, letting sunset happen, the end of all wars in Natlan. I will note, and as you may see in the background, I am working on some animations of my own. So looking at animations, especially anime style, is really insightful, seeing how things move and how things should be and how to. So I actually have an animation planned for Genshin with Nilu, not relevant to the story, but it's because of one of the songs called Her Wish. Really beautiful. And I also have an animation planned for Miyabi, which maybe I'll showcase a tiny bit of it or a test render with Miyabi. I've made these shaders in Blender that are really complicated. I have a lot of animations planned with it. I don't know if I'll stick to this style. I do have a proper, more anime style, but it still has too much 3D aspect to it. I don't know. Or I'll just go back to the original part of the Goo engine. I actually saw some stuff people have done with the Goo engine, and you can make it look more 2D than 3D, because that is an issue I have with the Goo engine. I think I could tweak this shader a little bit. For the longest time, I thought I needed colored light. That all has to be done in post. I mean, there's no point in even trying to get colored light. It just needs to be done in post with like the atmospheric effects. So just to run it back, I have an animation for Miyabi from Zenless Zone Zero, one for Nilu, and potentially a couple other characters from Genshin in that animation. And then I have one planned for Asta and Lucy. It was a request by a very loyal viewer and moderator. And then I have one for Fei Zhao and Jingli Yu. And probably a lot of stuff involving Amphorius when it comes out. And I actually have a guide for Rappa coming out. Well, an Eidolon guide. I'm trying to change the content that we're doing. I haven't really been active on YouTube. And I want to add in these reactions and lore and on top of animations, and also maybe doing guides on the value of characters in terms of their gameplay instead of lore. Now the Rappa one, I don't know. The sound engineering is painful. That's the part that's kind of holding me up right now. It also just takes a while to make an animation. I hope you all enjoyed.